A little while ago I did a video talking about my most anticipated games for 2024 on PSVR2, and one of them on that list was a game called Ghosts of Tabor. Now some of you might have heard of this game if you're following the PCVR scene. If you haven't, you might not have heard of it, or maybe heard of it in passing, and I don't blame you because a lot of games get swept under the rug until they come out on PSVR2 for a lot of the people in the PSVR2 community, and if you're not looking straight forward at what releases are coming out, then you won't be aware of it. But I'm here to tell you that Ghosts of Tabor will probably be the best shooter that comes out on PSVR2 in 2024. And I'll get into my experience with the game and why I think it'll absolutely slap on the PSVR2 headset, but in a nutshell, Ghosts of Tabor won't be the best shooter on PSVR2 because of its shooting mechanics alone, although they are very, very good, but because of its really unique premise in the VR space and its incredible use of mechanics that are seen in other games, but implemented really well into Tabor itself. So without further ado, let's talk about why this extraction shooter is one you should keep an eye on if you're interested in PSVR shooters in 2024. Ghosts of Tabor is made by Combat Waffle Studios, a dev team that I hadn't heard of until they popped up and said they were developing this title. And while I know now that the devs are all trustworthy and nice people and very, very good at what they do, way back when Ghosts of Tabor was announced and I hadn't got my hands on it, I thought this premise that they're trying to pull off is simply impossible to do in VR properly. The premise itself is basically Escape from Tarkov, but in VR. And if you don't know what Tarkov is, it's an extraction shooter where you go in, you get loot, you do quests, and you get out. Once you're out, you have a little hideout where you can kit up your character, improve the space that you stay in, essentially trade at a buy station, and work your way up levels and to the higher echelons of loot. Ghosts of Tabor works exactly the same way, and when it was announced I thought there's no way a VR dev can make this loop work in VR with the best systems possible and the same systems as the flat screen. It won't nearly work as well as it does in flat, but I was wrong. Combat Waffle really did it. What you're seeing is very, very early footage of me playing the game because I don't want to go and steal somebody else's footage of this game, so just bear in mind this is about almost a year old now. But the gameplay loop is essentially similar, but it's the same loop as Tarkov. You get in, you fight, you do quests, you get out. There are extraction points around the map that you can go and exit from. There are various types of weapons, and the weapon systems are incredibly impressive. Same with armor and helmets, they all have systems of what you can wear which will improve your toughness, and depending on where you get shot, improve your survivability. These are the two main things that will make this game great, as well as its core gameplay loop that is nowhere else in VR at the moment. There is no other extraction shooter on the market that does it nearly as well as Ghosts of Tabor does, and on PSVR2 there is no other extraction shooter. We've got our Siege type in Breaches, we've got our CSGO type in Pavlov, but we haven't got that Tarkov-like shooter, and this is going to be it. But let's talk about the guns for a second, because they are one of the most important things as well. Aside from having very, very solid gunplay with good recoil models and good damage, that is very unforgiving but rewards you if you hit your shots, Tabor is already off to a good start with that. However, it's also got what I like to call the into the radius ammo system, because that's the first time I experienced that sort of ammo system, and that's kind of where my reference is for it. What I mean by this is that Into the Radius uses an ammo system where each bullet is an individual item. You'll get a pack of ammo, and if you want, you can auto-load that into a magazine, or you can put the ammo in bullet by hand. This is such an intricate and delicate system that works great both for immersion and for gameplay, as it really heightens tension when you're trying to refill a magazine to put back into your gun in the middle of a firefight. Tabor has such incredible moments where your mags are out of ammo but your ammo pool isn't out. And in any other VR shooter, you just grab your pouch, take out another magazine and put it in your gun. However, in Tabor, you have to take your magazine out of whichever pouch that you've put it in on your chest rig or in your backpack and refill it manually to get yourself back in that fight. It's a very tense system and it's not for everybody, but in my opinion, it's the best one that there is in VR in terms of pure immersion. Same with the helmet, backpack and armor system. You can have various pieces of armor which protect you, and they all vary in their quality like they do in flat screen Tarkov, and same with helmets. And you'll also get a little overlay when you put a helmet on, which adds to the immersion, making you feel like you're actually wearing one. It also helps that you have a toaster strapped to your head with two screens on it, so you already feel like there's something on your head, so when you put on a helmet, it just feels right. And backpacks are also an amazing thing in this game because it uses the same system as Into the Radius, where you take your backpack off and you have a physical space to store in there. It's not like in, say, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, where you have a certain amount of slots for different sized items. No, here, if you can fit an item into your backpack, it'll go in there. It's all physical, and it makes it such a more personal experience when you're in the zone or if you're in a raid and you're trying to stack items properly and you get out of the raid and you know you put them exactly where you put them in the exact orientation, so you know exactly where everything is. It all relies on how organized you are, and that will ultimately help you in a raid, because if you've put ammo deep inside your backpack, you're going to have to sort through it to find it. Organization is key to staying alive and just being neat in general. Now, I could gush about this game for quite a while, but I just want to touch on one last thing, which is proximity chat. This is a staple of VR games, to be honest, because it ups the immersion so much in terms of VR gaming in general, and Tabor also has it. You can squad up together too, however it's very easy to mistake friend from enemy, so be sure to keep in contact with your friends as you traverse through the map so you don't accidentally have a blue on blue and kill one of them. But proximity chat helps you communicate either towards teammates or towards enemies, and I've actually had a couple of times back in the alpha testing where I've met other players who've just been friendly, they've given me a gun, they've gone on their way, or they've just left me alive. Because they felt nice that day, I guess. And that's one of the beautiful things about this type of extraction shooter game with proximity chat, is that anything can happen, and I think that's awesome. That's the main thing about Tabor that will keep me coming back to it when it does launch on PSVR2. Not just that urge of I want to do one more raid to see what I can get, but that feeling of I don't know what I'm going to find or who I'm going to find or how this raid is going to go. And ultimately today I just wanted to gush over a game that I absolutely fell in love with back when I played it in its alpha state, and I've been holding off jumping back into it until I can play it on PSVR2 with the great visuals, the great haptics on those OLED screens with all of you guys, because I think it's going to be great. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. I hope you're now excited for Ghosts of Tabor. Keep your eye on it if you're interested, because it really is a special one. Feel free to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I hope to see you all in the next video.